Welcome to Spooky News for January 8th, 2021, and hello for the first time this year. What a strange year 2020 was. Before we get started, I'd like to point out some of our most popular videos from last year. You'll find the links to all these videos in the details of this one, and I'll also put them in the sources and more information section at the end of this video. Be sure to check out that section. Our most popular review video, which is actually not only our most popular review video of all time, it's also our second most popular video of all time, was an unboxing review of the Pennywise Meltdown Funko Pop based on the second It movie. Our most popular interview for the year was the interview I did with John Adams, Toby Poser, and Zelda Adams. Not only are they a family, but they're also a collective known as Wonder Wheel Productions, and they make movies and now music. And you'll note there was a wrong audio clip for one of the questions in the video, but the text of the question is right. Not only is it our most viewed interview video of the year, but it's our most popular interview video of all time, and our fourth most popular video of any time. Our most popular audiobook for 2020 was one of a series I did during October that featured me reading some of my stories. The very first one, The Investigation, wound up as the most viewed audiobook video of the year. The most viewed edition of Spooky News for 2020 was the January 3rd edition, so almost exactly a year ago. Our most popular radio show video for 2020 was an episode called Where Do You Get Your Ideas from the show Quiet Please. With that look back out of the way, I want to talk about the interactive nature of Spooky Ventures, and particularly this YouTube channel. It is really all about the viewers, so please interact. That could be liking our videos, or sharing them, or leaving a comment. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you have a request, something you think I should review, or someone I should interview, leave a comment or contact me and let me know if you want me to be a guest for one of the interviews too. Oh, and speaking of those reviews, in case you missed it, a new one was published on Wednesday. It's my review of the new 2-disc Blu-ray of the first Tremors movie that was released by Arrow Video. Be sure to have a look at that video. And don't forget, stay tuned at the end of the actual news for a list of sources and more information URLs for the things I cover in the video. Oh, I should also mention, you might notice the intro music has changed. I had been using the Music of Eric Zahn clip temporarily because I lost some needed files, and I've gone back to the old introduction music with which is from a different one of my pieces. With all the preliminaries out of the way, let's turn our attention to the news. First, we're turning to books, and specifically audiobooks. There's a new audiobook from the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark series, and it features the voices of Patton Oswalt, Melissa McBride, and more. Looking to movies, there's an intriguing new film on digital video from Smart Dog Films. A Night of Horror, Nightmare Radio, uses a call-in paranormal radio show to link together the stories in its anthology approach. Various people call in to relate their personal tales, and we're taken there with them. Anthology movies generally need some sort of thread to tie all the pieces that are otherwise not connected together. I don't think I've heard of anybody using that particular thread before. Looking to 2021, there are some horror movies to keep your eyes open for. Morbius, which hits screens on March 18th, is not precisely horror, but it comes close enough. The title character is known as the Living Vampire, and he has powers and needs that are similar to vampires, but with a more scientific origin. The character is from Marvel Comics and was firmly tied into its superhero comics, so expect something that bridges the gap between the horror and hero concepts. Last Night in Soho is another movie coming in 2021. It's set for release on April 23rd. The release had been delayed due to the pandemic getting in the way of it being finished. It's going to be special because it's the last appearance of icon Diana Rigg. A bonus for me personally is the fact that it features Matt Smith. I'm a big Doctor Who fan, and he's my second favorite of the new Doctors. August 27th will see the release of Candyman. It's a direct sequel to the film that came out in the early 90s. I believe it had been slated to release in 2020, but then the pandemic changed a lot of things. So it's good we'll get a chance to finally see this film. I have to note that this particular piece of footage is being filmed at a later date than the rest of the video clips for this edition of Spooky News. I wanted to add one caveat before getting to the rest of the movie news. After I did the last segment, I found that although the article I found showed that A Night of Horror Nightmare Radio was newly released digitally, I think it actually came out in November and perhaps had a limited theatrical run in 2019. But don't quote me on that. I'm finding contradictory dates, and 2020 turned out very strangely for movie release dates, so it's something that should be expected, I think. I just wanted to clarify that as long as I was shooting some additional material for this edition. So, you say you like the classic Universal horror movies? Really, who doesn't? Well, they're classic for a reason, you know. Well, you're in for a treat. Universal is going to be making them available for free streaming on YouTube. Each movie will be available for 1 week. They'll start it off on January 15th with Dracula and The Mummy. Then both Frankenstein and The Bride of Frankenstein will debut the next day. The 17th brings The Invisible Man, The Wolf Man, and Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. So be ready to enjoy some classic monster movies. Our final piece of movie news brings a somber note. Hammer horror icon Barbara Shelley passed away at the age of 88. Thanks for bringing us some great movies, and rest in peace. Now, turning to television, there's some news that might disappoint fans of The Haunting of Hill House and The Haunting of Bly Manor. According to showrunner Mike Flanagan, it appears that at present anyway, the series is dead. He essentially said that there are always possibilities out there, but at present it appears there won't be any more of the series coming. Turning to our Spooky Ventures calendar, which, by the way, you can always check out by going to spookyventures.com and scrolling down to the link, we have all kinds of dates of interest to fans of all things spooky. Coming up, Rob Zombie's birthday is on the 12th. The same day sees the release of a horror film called Butchers. Author Clark Ashton Smith's birthday is the next day. John Carpenter's birthday is Saturday the 16th, and Edgar Allan Poe's birthday is January 19th. And Friday the 22nd will see the release of Psycho Gorman. Well, that's all for this time. I'll be back in 2 or 3 weeks for more spooky news. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, and always remember, keep it spooky. Spooky Ventures is the home for spooky content and spooky merchandise on the web. Check it out today at spookyventures.com. And remember, always keep it spooky.